All right, another day of the Combine. Today was the second day of on-field drills in Indianapolis. And tomorrow's the big one. The quarterbacks will throw, the receivers will run routes and catch the ball, the running backs will be out there as well. And maybe the two best players in the draft, the two guys that are most assured of going inside the top 5 picks, will not be doing much of anything. They're not going to be taking part in any of the on-field drills. They're not going to be taking part in any of the physical testing. That's USC's quarterback, Caleb Williams, the 2022 Heisman winner, and Ohio State's reigning Blitnikoff Award winner, Marvin Harrison. Both guys are seen as not only locks to go inside the top 5, but maybe the best in their position in years. Caleb Williams is seen on that tier with John Elway, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, and Trevor Lawrence as a prospect. Marvin Harrison might be the best receiver prospect to come out since Julio Jones and A.J. Green in 2011, maybe even since Calvin Johnson in 2007. So it's not really a surprise that these guys wouldn't work out. We've seen this before where elite prospects decline to work out because they have too much to lose and not enough to gain. But both Caleb and Marvin have taken this a step further. On Caleb's side, he is declining to do medical testing. That's a big thing. Medical testing is such an important part of the process for all of the teams. It's maybe the most important data point that they get from Indianapolis over the week that they spend here. And so Caleb Williams is declining to go through the medical testing for all 32 teams. He will go through and take physicals with teams that bring him in for visits. They can do that when they bring them to their facilities. And then as far as Marvin Harrison goes, he's not planning on doing any sort of physical testing at all. He probably won't do any on-field drills either. He hasn't done any combine training at all. He's not going to one of these fancy facilities in Florida or Texas or California like 99% of draft prospects do. He's instead training in Columbus, and he's training not for the draft, he's training for his rookie season. So how do we digest this? How is this a little bit different than what we've seen in the past? Well, this to me is in a sport that's become increasingly about business decisions for players. These are business decisions by these guys. And it is Caleb Williams essentially saying, I don't need the other 31 teams to have my medical information. If the Bears are going to take me one, maybe only one team will have it. Maybe I'll do a few other teams, but I don't need the medical data that's not already out there uncovered in front of all 32 teams. I want my team to have it. I want the team that's going to draft me to have it. But other than that, I don't need this broadcast to all 32 teams. I understand that. And as for Marvin Harrison, because there's not much to gain by going through combine testing, because combine testing costs now in 6 figures in some cases for these athletes, because he hasn't hired an agent, and because his main thing is being ready for his rookie year, he's deciding, yeah, I'm going to get ready for the fall. I'm not getting ready for March and April. I'm getting ready for September, October, November, December, and January. Again, a logical decision. And if the Arizona Cardinals take him at 4, the Chargers take him at 5, I think they're going to be ecstatic about it because he's going to be able to hit the ground running in OTAs in May for one of those teams. So what do we make of this? I think this is increasingly where things are going to go. I think there are very few players that have this sort of leverage. If you are a low first rounder, second rounder, third rounder, there's too much to gain by going through the physical testing. There's too much to lose by not going through the medical testing. You have an opportunity to really help yourself. So this is going to be limited to the very elite group of players, the guys at the top of the draft. But remember, these are players that now have already had money in their pocket, that have lived in the environment in college now with NIL, with the transfer portal. You know, these guys, that high school class that Marvin Harrison and Caleb Williams are a part of, they're the first class that had NIL as true freshmen. And so those kids come up in that. Those kids are taught to think with a business mindset from the time they step foot on these campuses, Ohio State, USC, Alabama, Texas. And we expect them not to make the business decision when they get to perhaps the biggest interview, the biggest job interview of their lives. It makes sense for them to turn these into business decisions. And that's exactly what Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison have done.